When the idea of Vybez first came to me, I remember thinking there's no way on God's green earth I'm putting this idea out there. It felt like a dope idea for a show that I really wanted to put out there, but I had a lot of stories, a lot of fear, a lot of things that were just in the way of putting myself out there. So growing up, I'm Jamaican, so growing up in that culture and in my household, my parents were really strict. There's a saying that goes in a nursery rhyme that I learned growing up that says, "Speak when you're spoken to and only answer when you're called." And that was pretty much the essence of my childhood. My parents didn't really encourage, like, put yourself out there, be bold, be courageous, like, express yourself, you know, in a way that feels comfortable for you. Because I was just that type of child that was just quiet and to myself, and I had a very tumultuous childhood, so I didn't really feel safe growing up in putting myself out there. Interestingly enough, when I was like 11 or 12, there's this show that I used to watch called Rappin', and it was the dopest show. I remember seeing it as a kid, and it was hosted by this woman named Lisa Hanna. And Lisa Hanna is a very popular Jamaican icon. She became Miss Jamaica, and then she entered the Miss World pageant and became Miss World. And she also went to my school, Queens High, which is an all-girls school in Jamaica. And I remember, because she was that close to me, so I was able to see her, but also see her out there in the world just doing what she loved. And she hosted this program, and I remember seeing her host this program, talking to a lot of just these artists and entertainers and being really good at it. And I said to myself, I really want to be just like her. I want to be able to entertain and like connect with people and talk to artists about their art. I just remember thinking in my being, like, I can do that. That's what I want to do with my life. So at some point in time, I did pursue that. I did a little bit of modeling and some acting, and was pursuing, you know, a career in hosting. When I moved to California, I was like 18 from Philadelphia. I did radio broadcasting school, and I remember thinking, like, this is it. So in pursuing it, I didn't really quite get anywhere with it, and I decided at some point in time in my early 20s that entertainment was just not for me. And instead, I was like, what can I do? I can help people. I want to help people in some way, because entertainment wasn't really working out. Over the years, I still had it in the back of my mind, like, I could still do that. I would see programs and see people actually hosting and entertaining people. And I'm like, I still would love to do that. I still can do that. But I already made my choice that that was not the route I was going to go. A few years ago, I was going through a really challenging time in my life. I was actually going through a separation. And I remember thinking, like, this is not the way I saw my life to be, you know? I thought I was just I had a plan already for my life. And it didn't quite work out that way. And through those challenging times, this idea of Vybez came up, because I was watching a lot of inspirational content, Shannon Kaiser, Alexi Panos, you know, Preston Smiles. I was watching a lot of inspirational videos. And also, too, I was listening to a lot of music. I remember thinking, ooh, what if I just made inspirational content, right? Still that idea of like hosting something and like being on camera and like putting myself out there was still there. And I was like, inspirational content, people love inspirational content. I could do that. I saw myself in these people that were doing these inspirational videos. And also with the music piece, I discovered a band called The Internet through a friend of mine. And at the time, I didn't think music was really very good. So when I heard this band, I was like, oh, I relate to them, because I wanted something to relate to the challenging times that I was going through. And I wasn't really hearing music that I could relate to until I heard of The Internet. And I remember asking people, like, oh, have you heard about this band? Because I listened to them for months. Their album, The Ego Death, is a dope album. And I rocked it for months, and I remember talking to a bunch of different people about it, and like nobody had really heard of the band The Internet. So I was like, oh, what if I made a show and talked about this band and also incorporate inspirational content. It's like, that sounds dope. So that's where the idea of Vybez was born. But again, I had my stories from childhood that I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to put myself out there. So there's no way that was happening. But I remember the idea just kept bugging. It just kept saying, you can do this, Peta. Like, this is what you've wanted to do since you were 11 or 12. So do it. What you resist does persist, and it wouldn't leave me alone. So I said, okay, I'm gonna give it a try, see where this goes. And I remember booking my first interview with a dancer, and a few days before the interview, she canceled. And I remember thinking, I'm not gonna get discouraged. I'm gonna just keep going, I'm gonna keep trying. And I tried to book a few other people and it just wasn't working out. And I'm a firm believer that what is meant for you will be for you, right? If we say yes to it. So yes, I said yes to it, but I needed help. And I just, in my frustrations, I was like, universe, show me the way, because this is not working. And if you show me the way, then I can, probably get somewhere with this, but I don't know where to go, what to do. I know nothing about production, about camera work, about anything of the sort. So show me the way. Shortly after just being frustrated and putting it out there, this guy named Rasta Yogi, who's on my first Vybez show, he came into my experience because I saw him a few weeks prior to this meditation that I had, and he was on either Allstate or State Farm. It was an insurance commercial for Black History Month, and I thought his storyline was that he was a football player turned yoga instructor. And I thought that was the most interesting story that I ever heard. I was like, wow, he would make a dope interview. I'd love to interview that guy. But not really thinking like, I really want to interview that guy, because he lived in Florida. And so when he came into my experience, I was like, universe, he lives in Florida. Like, that's not gonna work. Like, why would you, why would he even come into my existence? And lo and behold, maybe a week later, he posts on Instagram that he's going to be in LA. We're hosting a workshop in Beverly Hills. And I was like, no way, universe. Did this man decide to come to LA to have a workshop? And I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this, because this was divinely led and I'm saying yes to this, so let's go. I was like, you provided the answer that I needed, so if this is the case, I'm gonna follow this, see where it goes. So I go to this workshop in Beverly Hills. I meet Rasta Yogi, aka DJ Townsel, and I say, hey, will you do an interview? I was nervous as hell, but he was like, yes. And I said, oh my God, this is happening. So I did the interview with him, and do I remember anything that happened in that interview? No idea. But at the end of that, I just remember thinking, wow. I just remember the feeling like, this is exactly what I was meant to do. This is the feeling that I had since I was 11 or 12 years old, knowing that this is what I wanted to do with my life. And so at the end of that, I was like, this is it, we're doing this. I said yes, and I was just so thankful that the universe provided a way. So I believe that what is meant for you will be for you. I know there's a lot of people out there that just have this medicine on their hearts, and they want to do their passion and their purpose, but they're just afraid. There's a lot of people that are afraid or have the stories or whatever the case is. But you get to say yes. You get to say yes to that. You get to say yes to your passion, whatever you want to birth and put into the world. A lot of people are just afraid. They're just afraid to put themselves out there, like I was with Vybez. But it's for you. You don't get to die with this medicine in you. It doesn't serve you with it still being in you. You get to put it out there into the world. The world needs it. So you get to say yes to that. And if it's a matter of just being afraid to put yourself out there, then guess what? I got news for you. You get to take the fear with you. This amazing woman, Raw Goddess, introduced that whole concept to me of like feeling the fear and taking it with you anyway. I met her at a conference, and I remember telling her after filming the Rasta Yogi interview, because I was still fearful of just putting it out there, because that means I get to put myself out there, I get to be seen, and I was still not having it. Those stories were still running my whole experience with Vybez, and I remember telling her I'm so afraid to put it out there, afraid to put myself out there. And she just said, you get to feel the fear and do it anyway. She's like, take it with you. Take the fear with you. So I'm sharing that with you all. Take the fear. If it's fear that's stopping you from doing what is on your heart, you get to take that fear with you. You get to share that gift with the world. Don't die with your gifts still inside of you. The world needs it. And there's nothing like Vybez to teach me that. And of course, I still have my challenges all the time with Vybez, but I couldn't be happier because I'm living my passion and my purpose, and Vybez is for me, and I get to say yes, and so do you. Peta Vaughan here for Vybez. Thanks for vibing with Peta. I'll see you next time on Vybez.